Right, hello, back again. So, um, another request from one of my cadets. They were saying that he was having trouble with with understanding the OBS, which is the omni-bearing selector, and flying on a heading using the autopilot. So hopefully I'll be able to address some of those issues. He's using one of the stock aircraft in FSX. Now he told me it was a twin-engine. Twin prop, sort of 6 to 8 windows down the side. I think I know what he's on about. He said it was yellow as well, so we'll see if we can find it. I've got a feeling it's the Beach Baron. So it's, well, either the Beach Baron or the King Air. It's the King Air. So I've got add-on aircraft here, so ignore them. Gosh, who makes the King Air? I've completely forgotten. Oh, or was it the Mooney? Maul Orion. Oh, it might have been the Maul Orion. What do we think? You're probably screaming at me now because you know which one it is. Where the hell's the King Air? If you can see it on here, so if you're watching live. If not, we'll go for the. Oh, there's the King Air. There it is. Oh, it's Beechcraft. Yeah, of course it is. He said it was yellow. The only one yellow I can see is the Maul Orion. Oh, that's not got 6 to 8 windows down the side. So, hang on, there we go. Come past it. Bell, Beechcraft, here we go. Okay, fine. Let's go with the King Air. Let's do the King Air. It's much of a muchness. We'll load into this then, and we'll see what we can do. Where can we go? Let's go somewhere where there's plenty of VORs and stuff. Oh. So let's go to Dublin on the active. Weather's off at the moment. Let's just cut the fuel down a bit so we're not stupidly heavy. There we are. Okay, okay. That's fine. Cool. And I'm going to fire up Plan G. And then I'll take you through what we do. So Plan G is freeware software. And let's go over to Dublin. Here it is. So plenty of VORs and stuff here. You've seen I've done a video here before. NDBs. So the NDBs are the ones in green. VOR's the one in blue. And we've got Bell. Is it Bell Kenny or something? I forget which one that one is. Come on. Well, whatever, it's that one. So what we'll do then is we'll take off, and then let's go to one that's possibly a bit further out. Have we got one that's a bit further out? There's Valley. Oh, it's just a DME. Isle of Man, what's the range on that? So if I right click on it and go VOR range, oh, and it's turned the whole screen blue. Yeah, it's huge. Okay, so we'll go to the Isle of Man. Or at least we'll tune into the Isle of Man, should I say. So the Isle of Man, if I hover on there, is 112.2. So remember that. And I'm going to try out if it works. Editor, joystick cam. There we are, look at that. Awesome. So you should be able to see my joystick now. Oh, and hang on, we've often get feedback. So let me switch to my earphones, which is not done because it's already loaded. RIP. Oh well, thought the counts. So zoom out a smidge. 112.2 on the nav radio, so 112.2 there goes straight in here. Now, on here, so this is our omni-bearing selector. It's a little bit digital, this one. You can see we've got two dials. Okay, heading hold selector, which moves the pink jobby at the top. You can see moving around north there. And then we've got the omni-bearing selector, which moves this green dial. And you can see we are picking up the Isle of Man, but we've not actually got a signal because we haven't got a line here at the moment. So what we'll do, first of all, then, we'll get off the ground. I'm just not even going to bother setting this up properly. I'm just going to give it the beans and we're going to take off. So a little bit of rudder just to counter the torque steer. And then up we go. And wow, look at that. What's the brake gear up? And all that stuff that we like. So, at this point, I'm going to just trim using the nose up trim. Flaps can come away now just before we hit the speed. There we go, just trim down a touch, and we're in a nice climb. Now, green line has appeared. So, and we've got a range because we've got a DME on there as well. So at the moment, this doesn't really tell us a great deal. If I move the omni-bearing selector and just keep twiddling it until the line goes straight, it's telling me that the Isle of Man VOR is over there, over to the right, northeast. So it's acting just like an MDB, so watch my previous video on MDBs. So if I turn so that this direction is straight in front, then we will fly straight towards the Isle of Man. And we can see that the line's not quite straight there, so if I just twiddle it a bit more, there we go, to make it straight, it just gives us a new bearing. All it's doing, just like your normal compass work, map and compass work. Except rather than lining up the dial to point to north, we're lining it up to point towards the thing that we're referencing. So we're not referencing magnetic north, we're referencing this radio beacon. There we are, so now it's perfectly straight. So if I go to plan G, and let's connect here, you can see we are pointing straight at the Isle of Man. And as long as I keep flying in that direction, we will fly to the Isle of Man. Now if I deviate from course, either because I've got an offset here, or maybe because the wind is blowing us off course, we might be pointing at it but going slightly sideways, what we'll start to see happen is the line will no longer be in the centre. So let's fly over this way a touch. Now, because we're quite far away, the sensitivity is going to be quite low. So let's just get dropped down to a sensible value. Next down to a sensible value. Okay, and then we can trim for sort of 6,000 feet-ish, give or take. Not too worried about the flying here. It's more the what we're looking at. Okay, so hands off flying. So this is how you should be flying your aircraft. Not touching anything but jet hands. And I'm going to drop off that as well. So, because we've been flying off course for a little while, the line has moved to the right, which means that we are off to the left of that course. So, what have we done? Well, here we pointed at the Isle of Man and lined everything up. So that drew a straight line to the Isle of Man. Okay, So if we do that, let me just get this heading 66. So it's going to be what, 20 degrees, something like that. Show radial, inbound radial, 20. Oops. Let's just go with 20. I might be well off here. Oh yeah, I am well off. Okay, ignore that. Let's go with 40. Nope, still well off. Hang on, I will prove this point. There we go, that's close enough. So we'd lined ourselves up. So the ND bit, sorry, the VOR, the omni-bearing selector, drew this line. Okay, and as long as we don't twiddle that dial, that line stays exactly where it was, regardless of where we go. So what is it saying? It's saying we're to the left, and we are. We are to the left of this imaginary line. Now what I can do is adjust the omni-bearing selector to point at the Isle of Man again, turn onto the course, just throw this king hour around a little bit, and now it's all lined up again roughly, and again we're pointing at the Isle of Man, but we're on now a different radial. So we're on, well, I don't know, 80 degrees or something. No, not quite 70, more like 70. So let's just put the 70 radial on there. Okay, yeah, around about 70 degrees. And actually, if we look at this, you can see there's 60, there's 70, so we're pretty close to 70. So that corresponds with what we've done. Wrong button. So we've keyed in this 70 radial, and it's drawn this imaginary line at 70 degrees, and it's going to tell us whether we're to the left or to the right of it. Now, if you want to use this just as an NDB, you can just keep twiddling this to keep pointing at it, and then just keep turning the aircraft so that you stay pointing at it. We can see the Isle of Man over here now, actually. Dakota, thank you very much, sir. So we're effectively using this like an NDB. It's a bit wrong. And in we go. And we do actually have an NDB 366.5, so we can key that in. 366.5. And if we're in range of it, it'll pick up on here, which doesn't look like we are. So let's get the Ronald's Way one, which is, just hover the mouse. Oh, okay, fine, right click. 359. Are we in range of that? I don't think we're even in range of that. No, we're not. The range is there, look, so we're not in range of that NDB anyway. So that's it. Simple as that. Now, where the VOR is really useful is I'm going to want to fly in here at runway heading. Yeah? Makes sense. So, ILS is 263. Oh, actually, so we want the reverse. So 087. Okay, that is the runway heading. 087. So if I key into the omni-bearing, 07, there's 08. Oh, I got well past it. 08, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, which is showing down here on the course. That has now drawn a line, an inbound radial, an imaginary one, at 87 degrees. Now, that's to the... Oh, I've done that for the wrong thing. That's to the Isle of Man VOR, because that's the one we're flying on. So it's drawn this imaginary line. I'll tell you what, let's clear all of that. And let's just put a fresh one on, 87 inbound there. Okay, so this imaginary line, this aircraft now has knowledge of. At the moment, it's saying that line is to the left of us. Yeah, so this is that line. So what I want to do is I want to fly towards it. this is what we'll do. And as you can see on plan G, the aircraft is now flying. Oh. Rip. Let's turn the center screen back on. So the aircraft is now flying towards that line. Use your imagination, I'm sure you can figure it out. And we're flying towards this line. Okay, fine, cool. I haven't got all day, so let's just do a bit of a cheat. So chug, 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 flying towards this line. La 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 la. Oh, the MDB's just popped up. Ignore the pink line. I'm not using that at the moment. In fact, just turn that off. Aha, right, okay, so that green line's starting to move towards the centre. So chuggy, chuggy, chug. Now the line is in the centre, which means we must be on this radial. And we are, you can see we are. So I'm going to turn towards it. Now this is obviously a lot easier to do when you haven't got any wind on, but we'll talk about wind in the later video. So you see the line's gone slightly off to the right, so we'll just fly right a little bit. To get that line back in the middle, because we've overshot it, and you can see that is correct. And the line's edging towards the middle now. And we're in the middle, so let's turn to bang on the heading, which is a course of 087. So now, as long as that line stays in the middle, we are flying along the radial. And you can see that is exactly what we're doing. Now, if I want to do this on the autopilot, I'm going to turn the autopilot on. Put the flight director on as well. You don't need the flight director, I just put these pink lines on there. And then we're going to click nav. Now, make sure that you are set to the nav radio and not GPS. And what the aircraft is going to do now, I'll tell you what, let's put some altitude hold on here as well, just so it's doing that. 6,000, there we are. Now the aircraft just looks at this line. If the line goes to the right, it'll turn to the right. If the line goes to the left, it'll turn to the left. If it's dead straight, it will stay in the direction it's going. So even if I put a disturbance in now, well, it's going to fight me, so actually let's try and cheat it. So I've turned the nav hold off, so I have control of the direction the aircraft's travelling in. And I want to push that line off to the side just to prove the point. So we can see it's off to the left now, we're not on the heading. If I now click nav hold, thinks about it, goes, hey, oh, the line's off to the left here. So, jazz hands, not touching anything. The aircraft is now going to fly and try and get back onto that radial. So if we watch it on plan G, you can see the aircraft is turning towards the radial. It's going to turn past it because we're not on it. Notice this pink heading hold selector is irrelevant here because we're not in heading hold mode, we're in nav mode. So you can see the line's coming towards the middle now. The aircraft realises that, so it's going to start turning to the right, just as I did by hand before. We can actually now see the runway here as well. And now the line's gone off to the right. So it's now going to turn to the right. And you'll find when you're doing radio stuff, it will oscillate around the line, particularly as you get closer. But the aircraft is now flying autonomously on that heading hold. symbols. Okay. ILS is exactly the same. So we've got an ILS frequency of 111.15. So 111.15. So if I put that in, it's exactly the same. Course of 087. Go into nav mode. Interesting, it doesn't look like this ILS lines up with the actual runway. That's weird. No, because it's off to the left, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so put the automatic, and it's seeing that's off to the side. Now we're using an ILS here, just like a VOR. It's the same thing, an ILS is a glorified VOR. Now we're in line, so it's going to swing us round. Ignore what you're seeing on the ground. For some reason, there's something wrong with my scenery here. Because that's clearly not lining up. It does the same thing. Heading hold. So if I don't want to follow a navigational aid, I want a heading hold, I just turn the heading hold. And say I want to fly at 60 degrees, so I put that on 60 degrees, hit heading hold. Now the plane's going to ignore all the stuff in green and it's just going to fly onto this pink marker here. That is exactly what we see happening. So now it's irrespective of anything you see on the ground, it's just going to fly in 60 degrees. And of course, if I want to change that, I can scroll it while staying in heading hold mode, and round we go. Now, if I want to fly an outbound radial, so we've now passed the Isle of Man. In fact, let's go back to, what was it, 1122? 1122. Okay, so Isle of Man, IOM, so we're on the right thing. If I want to do a back course, so it's now behind us, it doesn't matter. So we are currently on the 60-degree radial here, because that's where it lines up. And I can fly that on the nav. Do funky stuff with back course, but we'll talk about that in another video. And now it's drawing this imaginary 60-degree line, and it's going to try and fly on that line now. Idea of where we are. Now you can be really dull and fly on heading, on the heading hold mode. So let's do a bit of that, shall we? And let's get us lined up. So we're in heading hold. I've got altitude hold on as well, which is currently bringing us down to 1700 feet. I'm going to turn base, so just swing that round roughly 90 degrees. There's the runway. I would have messed up my view because I haven't got this aircraft set up in chase plane. There we go, somewhere like that. Wait and see that we're getting lined up. So, still got a bit to go. Now I'm cutting this very fine. Give yourself plenty of room. Take flat 1, and let's swing us round to about 20 to 30 degrees from the runway heading. There it is. Now you can see the line's just crossed. I've just tuned back into the ALS on a course of, we want 087, but we know this doesn't line up for some weird reason. So flaps 2, bit of power to compensate for the drag. Swing it round. This is weird trying to do it on an autopilot, but there we go. And what I can do now is I can click nav hold and it will follow the ILS in. If I want it to control pitch as well, I use approach mode, and that's the only difference between nav mode and approach, is approach will control your pitch. We'll talk about ILS in another video. So gear down. Feet onto the pedals, ready for the brakes. Throttle back. Nose just above the horizon, keeping my eyes on the end of the runway. And there we are, down. Easy as that. So, hope that helps. If you're still unsure or want me to do this in a different aircraft, because different aircraft have slightly different OBSs, then comments in the comment section below, and let me know if you're enjoying the joystick cam as well, whether that's useful. Also, if you're looking to see what my setup was, I've just posted a video up there about my computer setup and the equipment I use. So please check that out as well. But hope you found that interesting. Till next time, goodbye.